Hi there, it's Mark here. So, mathematics, numeracy, everyday numeracy. Let's have a wee look. I've got some big tips for you here. Well, I've got three tips. So let's have a wee look to see. Let's have a look to see what you've got to remember that's going to help you. And let's just say this is a gift from me that will cover you for the rest of your life. Okay, 3 sections which we're going to be looking at. Currency, foreign exchange, the conversion, and this can be the matter, of course, for anything that is converting from one to another. Converting a fraction into a decimal as the reason why and so on. I'll explain that in a minute. And percentage changes, so there's something that changes. How much is that as a percentage? Let's have a look at currency, foreign exchange first. So when you're changing one currency into another, all things are not equal. So one currency will be more powerful than another currency. It will be worth more in terms of a bigger number. It's exactly the same. It's just that one is going to be a bigger number than the other. So let's have a wee look to make sure that we do remember this. So there's my wee pal there, just to actually make sure. The elephants are meant to be very good at remembering things. I want you to be the same as an elephant. I want you to be able to remember. I want you to remember these things that I'm going to go through in this wee presentation for you. So the first thing is one bigger number than the other. And this must also be the case in anything that you do. So if you're going from one currency to another and then back again, it does not matter. One is going to be worth more than the other in terms of the size of number. So it's the conversion. So if £1 sterling is the equivalent, and it's the equivalence. So if £1 sterling is equivalent to $1.38, that's $1.38 is the equivalent to £1. So therefore, if you're going in one direction from pound sterling to US dollars, the US dollar is going to be the bigger number. If you're going from US dollars back to pound sterling, the US dollar would have to be the bigger number. The pound sterling is the smaller number. It's the equivalence. So again, what do you have to remember? Shout it out. One number bigger than another. And if you remember that, then you'll always know that you've got the correct amount. And you can check to make sure that your conversion and the foreign exchange rate that you're using and the number you've ended up with is the correct number, because one number is bigger than the other. And it must stay so. So say it again. One number bigger than the other. Just to reinforce this, just to make sure. Say it again. One number is bigger than the other. And I've emphasised that as much as I can there. Okay. Now, let's move on to converting a fraction to decimal. Why would you want to do that? Well, there's so many different reasons. Main reason is it's easier. It's easier to work out in a calculator, using a calculator. It's also whether you're doing it on paper. It's just a little bit easier for you to work with that if you're looking for, say, a fraction of something and you multiply it by the decimal. So, if we look at the fraction of a half, everybody knows that, it's 0.5. So if you're converting that into a decimal, it's 0.5. How did we get there? Well, one thing you've got to remember, look at the fraction itself. So you've got a line, which means part of division. So they divide the top by the bottom. What do? Divide the top by the bottom. So if you've got a fraction of 3/4, 3 divided by 4. 3 divided by 4. So you divide the top by the bottom to get it into a decimal for you yourself to work with. So you divide the top by the bottom. Say it again, divide the top by the bottom. Now you just look at your fraction like that and you know that that line there means division. Now let's have a wee look at percentages. Now again, percentages is a part of. It's percentages per 100. Is part of 100. So it's similar to your fractions. You work in the same basis as that. So when you're working towards getting things into a decimal for you to be able to work with it easier, it's the same principle. You divide the top by the bottom. Now, if you have an amount that has increased or decreased, and you want to know how much that amount is as a comparison to the original amount as a percentage. So, for example, your wages go up. If your wages go up from, say, 35,000 up to 40,000. So it's changed by £5,000. It's gone up by £5,000. So how much is that £5,000 in comparison to the 30,000, the amount that you started with? Well, it's all you've got to do is remember one thing. The change or the difference. The change divided by the original amount, because it's percentages, you want to work out the percentages, then you multiply by 100. So it's the change divided by original, multiplied by 100 to get a percentage. So again, always remember, change divided by original. Say it again, change divided by the original. If you keep on repeating that and say to yourself, change divided by original. So say it again, change divided by original. And see the line there? Just like fractions. You divide the top by the bottom. So it's change divided by the original, multiplied by 100. That's the last wee thing that you do. So it's just 3 things you've got to remember. And that will help you greatly with your mathematics, with your numeracy. One number is bigger than the other when it comes to converting. So when you've got a conversion rate, a rate of exchange, for example, for foreign currency exchange, one number is bigger than the other no matter what happens and no matter which direction you go. It's always got to be that case. So you can always work it out and make sure one number is bigger than the other. Fractions, think about the line. So there's the line, okay? Divide the top by the bottom. So you want to convert a fraction into decimal, divide the top by the bottom. Then do your calculations. Percentages, if it's just a straight percentage increase or decrease, and it's a percentage, then you multiply it. Obviously, you just do that. But if you want to know what an amount is as a percentage of the original, so if there's been a difference or change in something, and you want to work out as a percentage change, it's always the same. Change divided by, there's my line again, change divided by the original amount multiplied by 100. Change divided by original multiplied by 100. Thanks very much for watching. So there's just 3 things you've got to remember there that will get you by with an awful lot. So when it comes to foreign exchange, one number is bigger than the other. When it comes to fractions into decimal, divide the top by the bottom. Work in a percentage amount, so you've got a percentage change. How much is that percentage change? You know the amount, but you don't know the percentage. It's change divided by the original multiplied by 100. Think on that line there and just think of me doing that every time you come across that. If you just remember me going like that all the time. Okay? Hopefully that helps you. All the best. Bye just now.